Hello, life groups. Good week. It's an awesome weekend here at IS South. It's Valentine's weekend, and we have an awesome Valentine's message to discuss. A message all about our emotional health.
Yeah.
Tonight, as Pastor Bernard shared with us this evening, our emotions are God-given. They are a gift to us, but oftentimes we respond to our emotions in a very unhealthy way. And we're excited about the great topics of conversation that are going to come from the message from you, Pastor Bernard.
Yeah.
So really quickly, I just want to kind of ask you, when on the topic of emotions, when you're talking to someone about their emotional health, in your experience, what do you think the average response is? How do most people respond to their emotions? Because obviously a lot of us don't respond in a healthy way. So what do you think our unhealthy default response to emotions usually is?
Yeah, default changes from person to person, but typically it's either I stuff them down, I deny them, I don't deal with them, or I just explode.
Yeah.
And so neither one of those are healthy. And obviously when we don't deal with our emotions in a healthy way, it actually affects our body in many, many different ways. But those are mainly the two. I'm either denying something or I'm pushing it down, stuffing it down, I'll deal with it later, I deny it, or I just let my emotions bleed into every relationship. I'll just explode or
and they just like
criticize,
rule your life.
complain. And basically I'm being led by my feelings rather than being led by the Spirit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I experience that every day in Jakarta traffic.
yeah, me too.
I'm led by my emotions, not by the Spirit of God. When it's busy, when you're frustrated, it's very easy to be led by your emotions. When you're angry with family, it's easy to be led by your emotions. So what are we supposed to do? What does it look like? What is that? How should our response be? Because I think anytime you talk about emotions inspiring an unhealthy response, it is like what you said. Usually we just think, oh, I just got to stuff it down, or I just got to ignore it, or I just can't give into it. But I think there's a healthier response, right? And what is that healthy response that we can do when we feel a certain way?
Yeah. So some of these, like for me, dealing with my anger in Jakarta traffic, that's a little bit different than deeper issues, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like obviously if I am responding or I'm feeling anger repetitively towards my wife or different areas of my life or loneliness or something. So these are deeper issues.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we've got to really gain insight from Jesus as to we've got to slow down enough in that gap and say, Jesus, why am I feeling what I'm feeling? What is the issue? Because a lot of times anger is not the issue. Anger is tied to an insecurity. Anger is tied to some rejection or something. And every time somebody pushes that button, it has this anger attached to it.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we've got to ask Jesus, what is it? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And that's where the healer wants to heal us, because he's not healing the feeling, he's healing our minds, our memory. He's healing the hurt in us so that we can respond differently. But it's bringing those feelings to Jesus, talking to him about them. He's not afraid of our anger. He's not afraid of those things. And he really wants to bring freedom in those areas. One thing we've got to get, Alex, is we've got to get to a place in our lives where we're bringing those feelings to Jesus. We're talking to him, and we've got to see that he's with us all the time. And I can't tell you that tomorrow your anger at Jakarta traffic is going to be all gone.
Yeah.
It really isn't, or tonight.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that I really believe with all my heart it's happened in my life, and I know that there's areas in your life where you've seen different responses. You're feeling differently because Jesus is we're talking to him about root issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we start to see we respond differently.
So we don't ignore them.
Yeah.
We don't allow them to dictate our actions. We don't become slaves to our emotions.
Yeah.
But we acknowledge our emotions and we say, Jesus, help me figure out what this is pointing to.
Yeah.
What's the red flag? What is it connected to? What's the insecurity? What's the backstory on this?
And that is emotional health. And I really believe that there is the dynamic, the divine power in us to help us process those and to be free from them. And it is extremely important for us to deal to let Jesus deal with those emotions in us
Mm-hmm.
and help us to respond differently. And all of a sudden, my relationships start to change because I'm dealing with different insecurities or whatever it is in my life. I'm dealing with them differently. Jesus helped me process those, and I began to see some health.
And the prayer that we stop in the midst of our angst
Mm-hmm.
is what? What do we
Yeah.
say?
So you and everybody is going to get tired of this prayer.
Yeah.
But in that moment, in the heat of the moment, whether it's loneliness, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's angst, whatever it is, say, Jesus, I need you right now.
Yeah.
I thank you so much that you are so faithful and you're right here with me. I need your help. I need you to deal with me right now. Help me. And that's our prayer. It's a simple prayer. It's a breath prayer. It's a sentence prayer. And I believe that he responds to that prayer, and we were really going to see some breakthroughs in our lives.
Awesome.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much, Life Groups. We want you guys to have a great discussion. We can't wait to hear the awesome stories that come from you guys sharing and just really being led by the Spirit of God as you discuss this topic and allow His Spirit to work in you. Have a great week.